You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
You're planning a vacation, an escape from the day-to-day routine of everyday life. You're looking forward to getting pampered in some sun-bathed tropical island getaway, surrounded by cool, balmy breezes with the soothing, relaxing sounds of calypso music playing distantly in the warm island air. Doesn't it sound wonderful? Well, don't leave your pets at home. They want to go too. Welcome to Travel Tales, the show where you'll get great travel ideas on perfect places for you and your pet. From Paris to paradise, south of the border to the South Seas, Travel Tales will give you cool tips on fun vacation destinations to travel with your pet, pet-friendly hotels, and advice on how to travel safely and happily with your furry best friends. So get ready to pack the bags and the bones with your Travel Tales hosts, Susan Sims and Nicholas Sveslosky.
Hi, everybody. I'm Susan Sims.
And I'm Nicholas Sveslosky. We are your hosts for Travel Tales on Pet Life Radio. You know, as editor and publisher of Fido Friendly Magazine, we know travel.
Yes, we do, and we can't wait to share our years of dog travel experience with you during our podcast each week.
Yeah, that's right. How many years of experience would you say that is?
Oh, well, I'm older than you, so we'll be nice and say 24.
Okay, we'll move on to the next point then. Well, on today's show, we'll be talking about a new company that has just arrived on the scene and is making it possible to fly Fido in cabin right next to you.
Yeah, this is so amazing. It's a dream come true for all of our listeners who have dogs that don't quite fit in a carrier under the seat in front of you when you fly, or maybe you don't want to put them in cargo. And I know for me, I have 2 labs, and well, suffice it to say, they are just a tad on the huge side.
Yeah, they're a little ginormous. You got one, that's, I think, 75, and then Maddie's over 100?
Yeah, well, Maddie's the big brown chocolate bunny. She's a lab mix. We're not sure what she's mixed with, but we kindly say she's a donkey pig. But that's for another video. But she is big, and she's a sweet girl. But I'd never be able to put her in cargo because she's really frightened of the noises.
Yeah, well, I think part of her size also is due to the treats that she gets on a regular basis.
Okay, I'm guilty. You've got the perfect dog.
Yeah, she's very sleek, but she keeps me more active than I normally would be. So I think that has to due to both our weight sizes. But, you know, the last flight that I did take with Tasha, my black lab, was where she flew in cargo. And as great as the airline was making me feel confident that Tasha was, you know, well taken care of, the only time I breathed a sigh of relief was once I saw her in her crate in the terminal. You know, during the whole flight, you're a little bit nervous because it's out of sight. It's definitely not out of mind. You're worrying, like, what's going on? You know, is there somebody else in the cargo area taking care of them? You know, how are they doing if we go through any turbulence? So you always constantly worry about that.
Yeah, I know. That's why this new company is offering a service. It's just a godsend. So, I can't wait to talk with our guests to find out all about how we can fly our dogs sitting right next to us in cabin, and along with a myriad of other things that their company has to offer. So this will be an exciting show. So sit and stay. We will be right back with more Travel Tales on Pet Life Radio.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts, put your seat backs and sleeping pets in their full upright position, and prepare for takeoff. Travel Tales will be zooming back with more great travel tips right after this.
There's nothing like a shaggy dog, baby. They're shagadelic. And this is the place to find out how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Oh, yeah. So stop by our pad every week and get switched on, baby. Switched on to the show that's all about attitude. Oh, behave. With your groovy host, pet edutainer Arden Moore. Yeah, baby, yeah. Every week on demand on PetLifeRadio.com.
Pets are part of the family, and when traveling with your dog, there's only one magazine to include when packing your doggie's duffel bag, and that's Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog. Each bi-monthly issue includes hotel, city, and state reviews, and doggy destinations to explore with your furry companion. Fido Friendly magazine can be found at Borders, Barnes & Noble, PetSmart, Pet Boutiques, and Fido Friendly hotels nationwide. Or you can go online to subscribe at www.fidofriendly.com. So get traveling with your pet today and leave no dog behind. And remember, Fido Friendly's the only magazine dedicated to the travel lifestyle of man's best friend, and the one magazine your dog will thank you for.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Attention passengers, we are now approaching our final destination. The weather is sunny and warm. Ocean temperature is a balmy 80 degrees for those of you wishing to doggy paddle. Please exit to the front and see our activities directors, Susan and Nicholas, on your way out. Have a pleasant stay.
Welcome back to Pet Life Radio. This is Nicholas Sveslosky along with Susan Sims, your host for Travel Tales. You know, before the break, we were talking about how great it would be if you could travel with your best friend flying in cabin next to you, not under the seat, but right next to you.
This is a wonderful idea, and it's about to become reality, as we will find out from our guests today, Chris Shoulet and Kelly Waffel from Dog Travel Company. Chris and Kelly, hey, how you doing?
Hey, Susan, how are you? And
Hey, Susan, how are you?
Hey,
Good.
Chris and Kelly, it's so nice to get to talk to you.
Yeah, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Hey, you guys, I should probably start out by warning our listeners that this is going to be a fun show. It might be a little chaotic because we've got 4 people gabbing at the same time.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to need a buzzword, something for us to take turns, like me next.
I like that. So me next. Okay, so what we should do is we probably should just start things out by telling our listeners all about the Dog Travel Company and that it is the first members-only dog-friendly travel service. So, Chris, why don't you take us through the concept for the Dog Travel Company and give us a little background?
Well, the company pretty much started out of a need, just like most dog owners. You don't want to go away without taking your dog with you, and you worry about your dog while you're gone. And I've gone personally through a number of different situations with bad dog sitters, bad kennel situations. You name it, it happens. I've got 4 dogs of my own. So we spent a little time, did a little research, waited for some other companies to see if they would start up and do something about it, and nobody seemed to be moving forward. So we took matters into our own hands.
4 dogs, that's a pack.
Yeah, it is a pack. If they start barking, I apologize.
That's okay. We work with our directors of marketing every day, so we know what that's like. We're kind of immune to it by now, I think.
Yeah. Are they the reason for starting the company as far as the inspiration to go within the cabin or, as far as in the airplanes and on the trains? Or did that develop as you guys went along?
They were a big inspiration for it. I have a friend who's a pilot, and I had talked to him about doing it, and he had warned me about not flying them in the cargo hold. And he told me some stuff about how if they need to adjust the pressure of the plane, they actually do it in the cargo hold before they'll do it in the passenger cabin.
Oh, wow.
And, yeah, which scared me. And he said even though the pilot will tell you that they're not going to do it down there if you say you have a pet, if push comes to shove, that's what they're going to do because it's one dog versus a cabin full of people.
Right.
That got us thinking a little bit.
Well, I know that you had mentioned before, that it looks like some companies were going to be able to get this thing off the ground, no pun intended, but maybe Kelly, you can kind of chime in and give us a little more information too, because, not only are you able to get the FAA approval on this and be able to work with different airlines to make this happen, but what kind of hurdles did you actually have to go through? I mean, this must have taken a long time to get from the concept to really making this happen.
Well, we're actually working with a number of private charter organizations and not the major airlines right now. But we are in discussions with the FAA because for us, one of the things that we wanted to make sure in going into this is that the dogs were safe and were comfortable on the flight. So as Chris mentioned before, there's just too much stress that a dog can go through when it's back in the cargo bay. So even when the dog is in the cabin, sitting next to its human companion or its human parent, that dog is wearing a safety harness, specially designed for an airplane. So the dog is protected and won't just jump out or anything like that. So we also go through a number of steps beforehand to make sure that the other dogs that are on the plane don't have any kind of malicious behavior, that they can respond to certain basic commands, that we try to socialize the dogs a little bit before they get on the plane so that, it's just not mad chaos and everyone's just rushing onto the plane. So we offer 2 kinds of planes. We have the 737s, which are for our longer flights from, let's say, New York or New Jersey to California. And then we also have a series of smaller jets that can accommodate, somewhere between 6 to 12 people. And those fly between, Chicago and New York, or New York and Boston, or Washington, D.C. and Atlanta, those kind of routes.
Okay, now are these going to be any special type of airports that people are going to have to go to, or are they some of the main ones like JFK or LaGuardia?
I can jump in there. We will be flying into those on some occasions, but we'll also be flying into some of the smaller ones too, like Atlantic City, Tahoe, Long Beach. We'll probably be flying. Actually, I know we'll be flying into Long Beach, LaGuardia. We can fly into the big ones. During the holiday season, it can be a little bit tough with the TSA and security protocols and everything, because the dogs have to go through security as well as the humans. And if you've got a large, if you've got a large line of the people there, the dogs might get a little anxious. So they've been trying to accommodate us as far as taking us in a different way or working with us going through security.
There was a moment when Nicholas was in California and I was in Idaho, and his dog was here, and we were shipping her on cargo. And we actually didn't go to the main terminal. We went to, I don't know what they called it. It was right next to the main terminal, but it was more like a cargo, maybe a cargo holding area, something like that. So would it be something like that where people would go, would they be maybe checking in and then getting their dogs and going to a different spot then?
Nope, the dogs will be with their owners the entire time, straight through the trip. You'll never have your dog leave your side. They may be pulled aside for, maybe 10 feet away from you when they go through security by one of the TSA agents as they pat them down, but the dog's going to be with you the entire time.
Oh, great. Yeah, that's pretty good for, especially when I'm just kind of envisioning how this would work. If you guys had any layovers or stopovers, the dog's always with you. You never have to worry about what's going on, are they being transferred, or worrying about a lost pet.
Absolutely.
Are these flights direct, or do they actually break it up if it's going cross country?
The majority of the flights will be direct, and we will depending on the routing, and we try to stay on the pulse of market demand. So depending on how our routing goes, there may be times when we have to have an indirect flight. But the majority of the way that we're setting up the company is that the majority of them are direct flights, so that you are sitting right next to your dog or your dogs during the whole flight.
Chris, when they come on board, do you give them some sort of, even before, I would imagine once they sign up for the flight, do you give the pet guardians some sort of advice of how to, arrive at the airport, how to go through security, how to, almost like pet etiquette on giving them the rules and guidelines of traveling with their dogs on the plane?
Absolutely. They'll get a handout that will arrive in the mail prior when they get their tickets, and this will go through step by step the entire process of where they go, where we're going to meet, any ticketing information, any boarding, the safety harnesses that they have to wear, the protocol, what happens, when they get there. We're going to take the dogs and socialize them for a brief period of time, give them a chance to relieve themselves before they get on the plane as well, and kind of walk them through the entire flight, the boarding process, so that we don't have a big backup. You know how when you're boarding and there's a big clump of people standing there hovering to get on the plane, and they do the pre-boarding for small children. We're going to actually pre-board the whole plane like they do with small children, where they'll start in the back and go aisle to aisle, so we don't have any traffic jams in the plane, and everybody can get their dogs situated and strapped in and ready to go.
That's quite a visual. I know a lot of the airports now, they're getting more and more to where they're offering doggy stations and places where they can take their dogs to relieve themselves. So I've got to ask, I think it's Kelly's turn. So Kelly, I've got to ask, what if they have to go to the bathroom? Let's just say they relieved themselves before they got on the plane, the dogs, but they're up in the air and maybe they're nervous. What do you have in place for the dogs to go to the bathroom?
We've got a great portable potty system that's actually developed. It uses sod, and then we spray that with pheromones and so forth, so that the dog adapts to that. And then there's a filtering system underneath that. So while we try to have the owners take care of their dogs before the flight, we have it situated so that we can accommodate that as well.
Is there actually a section in the back of the plane that has this? What does it look like?
It'll be like a container. It's probably 2 to 3 feet by 2 to 3 feet, and we will probably take out, a row of the seats in the plane and put it in there, or there's a lot of times in the planes, there's like a second galley area, and we may have it back there.
Oh, okay. These planes are specifically designed for this type of flight, is that correct?
The same configuration as a regular 737 would be, or a regular plane would be. We haven't, other than taking out a row of seats, if we can, on certain planes where we can put the potties in the back, the planes will be in the same exact configuration.
For people like you, Chris, that have 4 dogs, is there a limit to, is it going to be ratio dog to person, or?
Yes. I have to buy babysitters.
Yeah.
we do have a dog sitter service too for people like me, because we need to make sure that, well, if there's ever an emergency on the plane, we need to make sure that each dog can be taken off and each owner can get out safely. So.
Well, so I know when people go to your website, dogtravelcompany.net, that they'll be able to look at all the things that you have to offer. But what's your first trip? What is that planned? Where is that going to fly out of?
Again, we have 2 flavors of flights. So we've got these smaller Learjet flights, and those are running all the time. So, once we get a commitment of a certain amount of people going to a destination such as Boston from New York, that plane's ready to go. And then on the 737s, we've got flights that are scheduled. One of the first ones we have is from Atlantic City up to Toronto, Canada. And then, like you were saying earlier, beyond just the flights, if you go to our website, because it is a member-based dog travel club, we offer a number of different benefits to our members, including vacation packages and products and services and discounts on things. So that flight to Toronto also includes the ability to package that with a canoe trip that you can take in Canada with your dogs, with an organization that does that with dogs all the time. So you would go out and go camping with your dogs or stay out in a hotel or whatever, and they have a number of different day trips that they do with the dogs in and around lakes and things like that.
That's really fun. That's fun. I think, over the last 7 years in Fido Friendly Magazine, we've done a couple of different reviews on those types of adventure destinations, really, with your dog. Because if you think about it, a lot of people just think, I'm going to go to this little town, and I'm going to experience this town. I'm going to stay at this Fido Friendly hotel, and I'm going to walk around. I'm going to go to some shops, maybe a Fido al fresco, find a restaurant. But when you really think about it, there's so much more that you can do with your dog, and how many people really realize that they can actually go on a canoe trip with their dog and learn how to have your dog in a canoe. I tried that once with my husband and I. We had our 2 dogs, and we were going to get in a canoe, and we didn't think anything of it. And the guy kind of watched us, and as soon as we got out in the middle of the lake, it was chaos. I mean, we had no clue. And our big dog, she stood up, and she decided she'd look to the side. Well, every time she stood up and leaned over to the side, the canoe would start to tilt. So we were trying to get her stationed, and then meantime, the other dog decided she wanted to jump in the water, and it was hysterical. And the guy on the shore just was laughing, and he says, "Just stay right where you are. I'll come out and help you." And anyway, he ended up watching our dogs for an hour while we paddled in the canoe. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, I think that whole canoeing trip is definitely a team communicative effort, and I stood by helplessly watching in a one-person kayak as these 2 went in circles in the middle of the lake. So it's a good bonding experience. It
was a great bonding experience, and we had life jackets on our dogs, so we were able to grab the little hooks on them, and I don't know. I just think there's just so much more for people to do, and the fact that the Dog Travel Company is here now and is able to really take that next step and help the pet guardians get out, think outside of the box as it is, and this is so exciting because it's the first ever company that's actually following through with this fabulous idea.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, you guys even go beyond airplanes and you involve trains as well. Is that correct?
That is true. We've got a couple of trains that we'll be working with. We've got one that'll go from Chicago down the East Coast, down up to New York, down to D.C., all the way down to Miami. And it'll also follow the auto train down there for those who go down to Florida for the winter months and then come back in the spring months. That way they can take their dogs and their cars.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll eventually have them going out cross country too. We're working with some of the breed specific groups. We've been contacted by a few of them about transporting to dog shows as well.
Mm-hmm.
So the specific train that we're working with right now has 4 cars to it: 2 sleeper cars, a coach car, and then a car that will be filled with grass so the dogs can play on it.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
So
in the sleeper cars, the only sleeper car that I've been in was in Europe, where you have bunk beds all the way up. So I imagine that this is a little bit different, or is it the same?
It's the same. So they're not a luxurious sleeper car by any stretch of the imagination, but you've got 2 bunk beds and you can lie down. There's enough room for the dog to lie on the floor, and maybe you can maneuver around it. There's a little rest area. You've got a private toilet and a sink in there. And then there's a shower at the end of the car, so that it's kind of shared, but everybody seems to be able to get along.
They work out okay.
Yeah, they figure it out.
Yeah, we're going to take a quick break, you guys, and when we come back, we're going to find out even more about the Dog Travel Company, the member benefits, and in cost involved, and all that good stuff. So you sit and stay. We're going to be right back with more Travel Tales on Pet Life Radio.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts, put your seat bags and sleeping pets in their full upright position, and prepare for takeoff. Travel Tales will be zooming back with more great travel tips right after this. School's in session on Pet Life Radio with Teacher's Pet. Learn how to communicate with your pet, train your pet, and see the world from your pet's point of view. You may even learn a few tricks yourself. Teacher's Pet with pet expert and author Sarah Wilson. Only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Attention passengers, we are now approaching our final destination. The weather is sunny and warm. Ocean temperature is a balmy 80 degrees for those of you wishing to doggy paddle. Please exit to the front and see our activities directors, Susan and Nicholas, on your way out. Have a pleasant stay.
Welcome back to Pet Life Radio. This is Nicholas Sveslosky along with Susan Sims, your host for Travel Tales. And right before the break, we were getting into the very important question about price. And Chris, I had a question. As far as, signing up for a membership package, do you have to be a member of the Dog Travel Company in order to take a flight, or can you do kind of like a onesies and twosies type of thing?
No, you actually have to be a member of the Dog Travel Company Club to be able to fly with us. And membership isn't that expensive. Our regular membership is $49.95. And that, in addition to having the benefits of traveling with your dog, you also get a number of other benefits. We have a program called Pet Promise, which is a guardian notification program. So if you're ever in an accident and you're, incapacitated and you can't get home to take care of your animals because you've gone to the hospital, the emergency rescue people can actually notify your appointed pet guardians, and they'll go over and take care of your pets, make sure they've got dinner and they're being let out and everything.
Oh, that's a great service.
Yep, and that's free with your membership. So for somebody who's single and has 4 animals, that's kind of priceless.
I wonder whose idea that was.
I don't know. I don't know, some strange person. We also have other benefits. We've got an online store, and members have deep discounts on a number of very unique pet items, as well as some of the basics like poop bags, where you can get them much cheaper than you can in the stores, and that's one of the big member benefits too. We also have discounts on pet insurance as well as travel insurance. We've worked with a couple good companies there, and we team up with hotels and rental car services too that are all dog friendly.
Oh wow!
So there are a lot of benefits, not just the airplanes and the trains.
Yeah.
I think just as maybe Kelly, you can speak to this, but I understand you have all different flights and you have all different itineraries and you have groups, and maybe just an idea of one of the flights that you guys have in the works. Maybe you can give us like a price that people can kind of get their minds about what they're looking at as far as what that flight would cost them to go and take their dog.
The pricing is going to vary depending on the flight, but the way I explain it to people, it's similar to flying business class, and the way that we're set up is that you have to buy a ticket for yourself and for each dog, because the dog does sit in its own seat with the harness on it.
That makes sense.
So the tickets won't be the same as like flying coach.
Okay.
But they won't be, as expensive as flying first class either. So.
Yeah, go ahead and just throw some stuff out. We're not going to hold you to it, but just so people can kind of get it.
Well, I do have some sample pricing ranges. Well, I do have some sample pricing ranges. One way from New York to LA will be somewhere between $600 and $730, and that's a one way. New York to the Bahamas will be somewhere between like $670 to $730 or so.
I'm going to that one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm scheduling.
And those are the one-way fares, so that they're business class rates. So.
Right. No, that's not bad. I mean, especially for just that extra security of knowing your dog is right there, and the dog is your companion. I mean, it's your buddy that's going to be taking this trip with you. So it seems well worth it just for the peace of mind and the overall less stress feel of having to travel with your dog. I think it's well worth it.
As we were forming the company, we did a lot of market research, and a lot of the surveys that we were looking at were kind of astounding, where they would go out and survey thousands of members of different associations that are related to dogs and pets, and we would look at numbers where 61% of the people that responded to a survey would rather spend their time with the dog than with their spouse.
Oh, wow. I think I know some of those people in that survey.
Exactly. They love their dog more than they love their children. Or, 88% of the people make sure that they celebrate their dog's birthday every year with a party and gifts. So, the whole point of this is that there is, if you are a dog lover, you immediately understand that bond and appreciate that. And, you're willing to spend a little bit of extra money to make sure that your dog is comfortable and safe and can go with you on that trip, especially if you're flying to a destination where it's a dog-friendly resort or things like that. You're going to have a great time, and you're not leaving the dog behind with a sitter or in a kennel or whatever.
Right, and people have to remember too that there is a cost when you do leave your dog behind, not just an emotional cost, but financially. And the interesting thing to me is I was on a flight recently, and a gal was with her dog, and I found out that it was an emotional therapy dog, and we may not have a doctor's prescription that allows us to go, there's your friend helping us out.
I muted it, but if you want to listen.
But
I'll let you listen.
Yeah, go ahead. I think it all
must be something important.
Yeah, he probably wants to say, "Don't forget me." But I think it kind of hits home for all of us who really miss our dogs when we travel, and on the rare times when I have to leave or when we have to leave our dogs at home, we'll cut a trip short. We'll talk about the dog. Oh my God, you can't even get out of the driveway when you start missing your dogs. And so, the saying is out there, and we've heard it a lot. But pets are part of the family, and they make you feel good. So I think that the pet guardians out there have been wanting to have something like this. That they can finally get to take their pet on a plane or a train. It's like that John Candy movie, Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. You guys are a godsend. I really mean that, and I'm so excited to be able to have you guys on this podcast and just kind of get people excited to go to your website and find out more.
Right, we're really excited to get going too and get this
when's
started.
the inaugural flight?
We've got the smaller flights, the shorter flights going now. They're available right now.
Okay.
And then our big kickoff flight, we're probably going to have one from New York to LA, and then we'll have the one going up to Toronto is scheduled for, I think, June. We'll start flying, I'm believing it's late spring, early summer.
Okay, perfect.
With the big planes, that is.
The 737s?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's right now as people are getting ready for, we're well into the holiday season and getting all the Christmas gifts. This membership actually sounds like it would make a great Christmas gift. And I think do you have gift cards available on your website for listeners to purchase right now?
We do, and the great news is that we are offering a special intro price for those through the end of the year. So, as we mentioned earlier, our typical membership cost for one human and one dog is $49.95, but right now we are offering kind of a welcome aboard intro promotion for $35.95.
Oh my gosh.
Perfect.
If you look at that, and then if you go to our site and you look at the whole list of benefits you get once you become a member, it's kind of a no-brainer to say, well, I'm getting a lot more value here than what I'm paying for the card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
I I think I know what I want in my stocking this year.
Yeah.
It is the perfect stocking stuffer.
It really is. So everybody out there, go to dogtravelcompany.net. Don't get confused with .com. It's .net. And Chris and Kelly, thank you so much for joining us today. You offer a much-needed service, and I hope to see you on a train, a plane, or an automobile soon.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having us.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Nick.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll have your Fido-friendly travel tips. So sit and stay. We'll be right back with more travel tales on Pet Life Radio.
Attention passengers, please fasten your seatbelts, put your seat bags and sleeping pets in their full upright position, and prepare for takeoff. Travel Tales will be zooming back with more great travel tips right after this.
Having a rough day? Longing for the dog days of summer? Think your fun furry friend lives a dog's life? Well, find out everything you're begging to know as Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palika. Every dog has his day, and you'll find out how to make your dog's day fun and rewarding. Every week, on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Pets are part of the family, and when traveling with your dog, there's only one magazine to include when packing your doggy's duffel bag, and that's Fido Friendly, the travel and lifestyle magazine for you and your dog. Each bi-monthly issue includes hotel, city and state reviews, and doggy destinations to explore with your furry companion. Fido Friendly magazine can be found at Borders, Barnes & Noble, PetSmart, Pet Boutiques, and Fido Friendly hotels nationwide. Or you can go online to subscribe at www.fidofriendly.com. So get traveling with your pet today and leave no dog behind. And remember, Fido Friendly's the only magazine dedicated to the travel lifestyle of man's best friend, and the one magazine your dog will thank you for.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Attention passengers, we are now approaching our final destination. The weather is sunny and warm. Ocean temperature is a balmy 80 degrees for those of you wishing to doggy paddle. Please exit to the front and see our activities directors, Susan and Nicholas, on your way out. Have a pleasant stay.
Welcome back to Pet Life Radio. This is Nicholas Sveslosky along with Susan Sims, your host for Travel Tales. You know, before the break, we were just finishing up talking with Chris Shoulet and Kelly Waffel from Dog Travel Company about their new members-only dog-friendly travel service. And what a great company, what a great concept, being able to really get out there and fly with your dog right next to you, not having to worry about them being down below or going on a train trip with them. There's a lot of good direction that's coming out of this company, so I really am looking forward to seeing this company grow.
I am too. I'd like to be on their inaugural flight and their first train excursion as well, because just to see these dogs, I mean, you're going to be able to see all this joy and expressions that dogs have when they're having a good time, and it's going to be crazy.
Well, can you imagine just the takeoff? I mean, it's fun to watch a little kid, you know, when you're taken out of an airplane off the ground for the first time and they have that smile. Just to be next to your dog to see, you know, what's going on. You know, of course, there may be some dogs that have adverse anxiety just because they don't know what the heck's going on. But that feeling, I could just see Tasha grinning, you know, ear to ear with this huge canine smile.
Yeah, everybody just know your dog and know if this would be enjoying for them or if it would be torture.
Yeah, what do you think for Maddie and Zoe? Do you think they would enjoy it?
Yeah, I think Maddie she's got anxiety when it comes to loud noises.
She thinks a hot air balloon's a wild dragon, doesn't she?
Yeah, it would be kind of interesting. But anyway, I think the Dog Travel Company, the membership card that they have, it's going to make a great Christmas gift, and it's something everyone will be able to use and enjoy. You know, for the pet guardian that has everything, this is something that they don't have, and it's something that they'll have a lot of fun with.
Yeah, you know, speaking of Christmas time, this brings us to our Fido-friendly travel tip. Around the holidays, we always worry about there's an extra commotion, a lot of things laying out for decorations and a lot of different types of foods. And we always hear what is toxic to dogs, and we kind of hear it's almost like floating knowledge of beware, don't have your dog eat this. Chocolate comes to mind right away. Raisins is another. But did you also know that one of the other hazards, especially around holiday time, are poinsettias? So you've got to be careful. If your dog, if Fido's sniffing around the poinsettias too much, make sure they're not chowing down on that, because you could have some adverse effects later on.
Yeah, that's actually a good tip. I didn't really know that, and I think, everybody knows about chocolate. I think that's probably the number one that people know, that chocolate can be toxic. And when you're planning your holidays and you're getting all your decorations out, and, obviously you got to keep Fido away from the tree because they, want him eating the ornaments and so on and so forth. But, the poinsettia usually is a decorative, plant that you're going to put, maybe on your fireplace, maybe by the doorway. And if you're going to leave Fido at home, it's probably a good idea to put that someplace out of their reach when you're not there to monitor them. That's a good tip.
Yeah, I always thought when I looked at poinsettias that they look fake. I always thought they were a fake plant, even growing up, until I was older. They seem to last forever. I don't know what it is about them, but it's like they don't go away.
I know. Well, hey, that was good advice as always. And if you would like to find out more about today's topics, or you're just about traveling with Fido, you can go online to FidoFriendly.com to subscribe, or stop in your local Borders, Barnes & Nobles, or PetSmart and pick up a copy of Fido Friendly today. And I think on that travel tip, Nicholas, didn't you say that something's going to be included in the January-February issue of Fido Friendly?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for reminding me, Susan. But
you're welcome.
As publisher, you must keep the editor in line at all times.
At all times.
What we're going to do is we're going to have a great fact page. It's going to talk about traveling, abroad and within the country, on what you need to know and what websites you can go to for further information. We're also going to have a list of the toxic foods that maybe you're not so much aware of. There's a lot of houseplants that Fido shouldn't be around, a lot of other types of foods, onions, garlic in large quantities, and things like that will be really good, useful tips. We're going to put that in the January-February issue, and we're also going to put that online in December.
Okay, good. So everybody, if you're not subscribing to Fido Friendly, go to FidoFriendly.com and make sure you get the January-February issue. And we would love to hear from you with questions or comments, so feel free to email us at Pet Life Radio. And until next time, safe travels, leave no dog behind. This is Susan Sims, along with Nicholas Sveslosky for Travel Tales on Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio presents Travel Tales, the show where you'll get great travel ideas on perfect places for you and your pet. From Paris to paradise, south of the border to the South Seas, Travel Tales will give you cool tips on fun vacation destinations to travel with your pet, pet-friendly hotels, and advice on how to travel safely and happily with your furry best friends. So get ready to pack the bags and the bones with your Travel Tales hosts, Susan Sims and Nicholas Sveslosky, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.